It's March 3rd, and today we're going to talk about transplants and starting that summer garden. Now, if you've been with the channel for a while, you know that I grow all my transplants, and I've got a bunch that's growing there. I've got some I'm waiting to pop up, and we've got some more that's popped up that we've thinned. Now, that's the important thing, depending on which type of uh, plant you have. Uh, you need to thin them. Now, yes, I'm killing these little seedlings, but uh, that's that's the way things goes. Now, these have not all popped out of the ground. This here is my uh, bib lettuce, and it's ready to go to the greenhouse. It's popped up. The greenhouse isn't heated. In fact, the sides are up. Our weather uh, is looking good. We're starting to warm up. On the long term updates for the weather, it looks like we're not going to have any freezing temperatures the rest of this growing season. Now, we've got some more plants over here. These are our new collards. If you followed along, you'll know that our collards were starting to bolt or go to seed. And we've got our new ones here, and we've actually thinned these too. Now, they are getting just a little leggy, which is never a problem. A lot of people stress over legginess. I don't ever stress over it. They'll do fine. But there will be more seeds that'll germinate in this bunch. I've thinned out most of them. We had good germination, but I will have to come back and thin these out again when some of these new seeds pop up. But they're in the process. These would germinate outside. In fact, you could plant them in the ground, but if you did that, your plants would be way too close, and you'd have to do a whole lot of thinning. This just makes it easier for me to do it. I always recommend cell trays. You don't have to have the biggest, best. Just have a cell tray. But the plan is to go ahead and start putting these out now. These are my cucumbers. It's way early. Normally, our last average frost date is uh, the end of March. Now, we're in zone 8B, but zone doesn't play a factor in when you plant your plants. Your last frost date is what you go by, because zone is just your low temperature for your area, your average low. And that's not going to matter for planting your plants out in the garden. Now, these are warm weather plants. They don't like frost or freezes, and we're hoping that we can do this and get by. But if we don't, it's just going to set us back a little bit of time on our transplants. If we do, then we're going to have an early crop, and these will do much better in the cooler growing temperatures. They won't grow as fast with cooler nights, but they will get established well before we get into our heat, because down here in northeast Texas, we get some brutal summer heat. So we want to get good production ahead of that heat, get these plants well established. And these will go directly out into the greenhouse today. Some of them might go into the ground. Now, these plants here, as you can see, most of them, there's two to a cell, which ideally that's the way I plant. I don't pull any out. If they both come up, well, that's good. If only one comes up, well, that's good also, because I've noticed that my cucumbers do good. And that's one thing about gardening. As you garden longer and longer, you're going to learn certain characteristics about your plants, and such as that, which ones do good with, do okay when there's two of them together, and which ones don't do good when there's two of them together. But like my brassicas, as far as, or in my lettuces, the particular lettuce that I have planted that I thinned out is a head lettuce, and so I don't want it right next to another one. Now, a lot of times if I'm picking for leaf lettuces, I'll put about 3 seeds in each one, and if all 3 come up, I'll leave them together because they'll do okay, and I can still uh, take and harvest good harvest off them that way. But we're going to go out to the greenhouse. We're going to look at our transplants there. We're going to look at our beds, how we've got them prepared, and we're going to get this garden started. Okay, we're out here to the greenhouse. We've got the big door on the end opened up, rolled up. The weather's seeming to be so much warmer. And we come down here and we have our transplants, and these are our peppers. They're really looking good. We've got quite a few. That's going to be a lot of plants put in the ground. We did move our cucumbers out. Now these here are our squash. Some of them's popping up. I'm sure the others are germinating, so we moved them on out, and then we got our cucumbers. And we've got our roselle hibiscus right here, and we've got our single seed pumpkin right there. And then we've got tomatillos and tomatoes here. And we're going to try to get a lot of these in the ground. We're probably going to start with our tomatoes. We've got so many empty beds in the garden. And of course, we were waiting to plant them. We've got almost all of our beds rejuvenated, and we'll do a garden update soon. But we're going to start getting these into the ground. Okay, we're planting these tomatoes, and when you plant tomatoes, go ahead and pinch the lower leaves. Now, if your tomatoes are a little more leggy, you might want to pinch leaves up a little bit higher to plant them deeper, but we always just pinch the bottom ones off, and then we'll plant them. Now, this year I'm doing a little bit different. I'm adding a little bone meal to the holes. That's more phosphate. Phosphate is normally used to increase bloom production. So we'll see if it does make a difference. But we've already planted this row over here. These are Cherokee purples that are going in now. And we're out here in the garden the next morning. This is March 4th. We've got a lot of our transplants out. You can see they're doing good. We was mostly overcast yesterday, which was a good day for putting out transplants. It's always good if when you're watering them in and getting them adjusted, that it doesn't get a whole lot of sunshine. Today, as you can see, it's overcast. It's supposed to start raining here pretty soon. But we went ahead and set our baskets up on these, and we'll probably go ahead and put our T-post in, and we run a wire so we keep them from blowing over when the wind gets strong, especially once these plants get big. But we've kind of alternated in our planting. We've done some tomatoes, and then we've done some peppers. So we kind of separate the varieties a little bit easier. We didn't put all tomatoes in like we normally do. Now on our peppers, we've got what they call tomato cages that you buy, 42-inch. We put those. They'll keep them upright, and they do fine for the peppers. And we've got on this particular row, we did double row it. We alternated them, so we got a good spacing on them. This year we've done about 2.5 foot spacing. Normally on our tomatoes and stuff we do 18-inch, but we don't get much airflow that way, so we've spaced these out quite a bit more, because normally our baskets are almost, or our homemade cages are almost touching, and I say they might have 6 inches between, but now they've got a little bit over, probably about 16 inches to 1.5 foot. But we've got all these rows planted. We left one row at the edge of the garden there, our last row. It's a little wider. We've got different plans for it, and we were going to use this one for green beans, but we said we'd go ahead and plant these double row, but stagger them further apart. so it should work out good this year. And we've got a lot of these planted over here. All our beds that were empty when we started, we left this one because we're going to put squash. It likes to sprawl more, so we'll put them here. And we missed a hole, but we put us a borage at the end. You always put you some flowers here and there. Bees will love it. It bring them more in, and then of course you got a better chance of them pollinating your other stuff that they're not particularly interested in. But these plants are looking great. Ideal planting size. Hopefully the weather hold out. This is where we ended up. We got most of this row, and we'll start the rest today. We have just a few pepper varieties to go out still, and we've got our roselle hibiscus. We'll put it in the beds that we're planting, and then we've got another tomato variety here. These are plants that I'll be giving to my daughter, and my other daughter picked her up some and got hers in the ground. And maybe we'll do a video and go up there and see her garden spot. But anyway, that's where we're sitting. We'll get all that done up. We do have this tomato variety here too that needs to be put out, but these are some spare plants. If we do lose a few, we'll have just a few spares of some varieties. But we're going to get the rest of this planted. Okay, we got almost everything planted. We've got our roselle hibiscus out, which it's definitely early. We've got actually 7 rows that are left to plant, and cucumbers will take up most of them. But we've got almost all of our transplants put in the ground. The only thing we're going to lack, and we've got these 2 rows here planted this morning, that and our roselle. The only thing we're going to lack is our cucumbers, which are they're just about perfect to put in. So we might go ahead and plant some of these today. And we've got our squash. We're going to let it get just a little bit bigger. And then we've got a few peppers left. We've got some hot ones, and then we've got some sweet bells here, and some habaneros, which is the sweet, not hot habanero style pepper. Got the flavor of a habanero. But anyway, that's where we're at now. Really, the main purpose of doing this video is my last frost date is the end of March, and we're just now at the beginning of March. But looking at the weather, that's one thing that is a major thing to planting your crops, and you need to find a weather app or station that is going to give you good information so you follow along and see how accurate it is, because a lot of your weather apps for your local channel, stuff like that, they seem to change so much. They can even take you out 10 days without a major change by the time they come out. And anyway, that could be a situation come up, and some freak storm that they generate and take everything out. But it's just going to be a matter of starting over. It's few seeds. It's no reason to get disappointed. But don't think by your zone. There's people I know around the world that's in the same zone as we are, and their temperatures are totally different. The zone only deals with the average low temperature, and I understand that. So if you ask somebody, which zone are you in, that has nothing to do with whether your weather's going to take out your plants. Because if I say I'm planting now and someone else in zone 8B, they're still having freezing weather, then if they go ahead and plant, they're going to lose their crops for sure. But anyway, I thank you for following along. And if you want to see more content like this, of course, hit that subscribe, hit the bell, select all, and give it a big thumbs up and share this video. Enjoy that gardening experience.